Hey guys, welcome back. So we've got some interesting drama surrounding the Anthony Joshua Jake Paul fight. Now, as you guys are aware, all right, Anthony Joshua, who's going to be taking on Jake Paul, you could say this is a replacement fight, or you could call it. Bottom line is it's a replacement fight. Okay. We all know what happened with Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis was supposed to take on Jake Paul. That was supposed to happen November 14th. But then 2 to 3 weeks prior to the fight even happening, Gervonta Tank Davis's ex had filed some very egregious claims against him. Like, we're not just talking about, he said some nasty things towards me, or, he's stalking me, or he's a bad guy. Like, pretty damning claims involved with, there's some really, really nasty stuff said about Gervonta Davis. And so anyways, needless to say, I think everyone knows the story. And if you guys have been watching my videos, that fight was subsequently canceled. So now they're battling it out, or they've got court dates set up, and they're going to be battling it out, and that's that. So now that's yesterday's news, right? So then everybody, including Netflix, obviously everyone's like, well, what the F is going on here? We are supposed to have a fight. The fight's not happening. Do we have a replacement fighter? So Jake Paul's MVP Promotions, Nakisa Bidarian, they've been working really hard. They sent some offer letters to numerous fighters, some very noteworthy candidates. I believe Ryan Garcia was amongst them. We had, Andre Ward, former champion, undefeated. He retired actually in 2017. I did a video on that. Also did a video on Ryan Garcia as well, too. I honestly thought Andre Ward would have been a good match. I mean, he probably has a little bit of ring rust, of course. I mean, he's been out of the game now for 8 years, but he retired on top. He retired undefeated, and he's a former world champion. So that would have been a very, very interesting fight. But needless to say, there was some other noteworthy candidates. We're not going to get into all of them, but Terrence Crawford apparently had agreed and said, yes, I will fight Jake Paul. Now, we can't 100% confirm those rumors, but those are from some of the sources that I'm hearing. I believe the Diaz brothers were also interested. But bottom line, Anthony Joshua, former world heavyweight champion, he reeled in the bait, and he took on this fight, and they agreed to some very hefty sums, enough that nobody could say no. There's already talks about this fight going upwards of around 200 to potentially $300 million, guys. This is a big event. And so with that kind of money on the line, nobody's going to say no. So needless to say, here we are. Fast forward, Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. It's going to happen December 19th in Miami, and it's going to be streaming on Netflix. It's going to be absolutely fire, as the young crowd would say. Now, let's talk about some recent drama. Let's talk about some interesting things related to this fight. Michael Buffer sent Jake Paul a chilling 4-word warning recently. And pretty interesting stuff, right? Now, this story was actually on Sports Illustrated. It broke there. And so what happened was, and then I'll get into that actually, and I'll also have a couple other things I want to talk about as well surrounding this fight. We also have Eddie Hearns drops a retirement bombshell announcement, okay? And then Andy Ruiz, yes, Andy Ruiz, heavyweight fighter, reveals the one punch that Jake Paul needs to land to be able to shock the world against this fight against Anthony Joshua. Guys, this fight, I told you when I first broke this story, there's going to be nothing but storylines coming out on this fight. So storylines we have, drama we have, and guys, it's just playing it out. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely crazy. This fight is way too dangerous. There's so many implications. There's so much that's on the line. The pressure. I mean, this is making for an unbelievable fight. And guess what? At the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff that people love, the marketing, the hype, and all the buzz that surrounds it, right? I mean, there's drama, right? And we've got this legacy shaking kind of atmosphere here. It's absolutely incredible. Now, I break down why Joshua versus Paul is probably one of the most craziest matchups in modern day boxing. And if you want to call it crossover boxing, that's fine. You want to call it hybrid boxing, I'm cool with that. But it has real stakes, guys, real consequences, and massive, massive what if scenarios. And I say all this, guys, because we're not talking about when Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul were supposed to fight. That was an exhibition fight. This is not an exhibition fight. This is a professional fight, a professional ranked fight. So this is why the stakes are so high, guys. So before I get into it, guys, I want to thank everyone for joining us here. And look, I mean, you guys are familiar with Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. Here we try to cover all the latest trending stories when it comes to the world of MMA, UFC, WWE, and boxing, and the wild world of boxing. So it's absolutely incredible, guys. I want to break this down. And before we start, please smash the like and subscribe, guys. It definitely helps us out with the algorithm and gives us an opportunity to do what we love doing most, which is providing you with these kind of stories on a day-to-day basis. So let's talk about these insane storylines, guys. Now, first, I want to talk about Michael Buffer. The man, the legend. He's an icon, the voice of boxing. He has thrilled us for years and years and years. The whole, his iconic phrase. I wouldn't even be able to replicate it. But are you ready? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, for the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble. And when he does that, guys, I still get goosebumps. It's absolutely electric when he gets on the mic. And his brother, Bruce, does an unbelievable job as well, too. It's time. When he does that at UFC, yeah, I don't know. There's something about these guys. They're very, very talented. I'd love to see them. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and watch these guys at a table having dinner, a family dinner, or over Christmas or something. The conversations that would happen between these guys, or if they even do like a voice off or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. But anyways, guys, let's talk about Michael Buffer. I totally went off on a tangent there. And look, Michael Buffer, this story broke out, by the way, on Sports Illustrated, so they get all the credit for this. But Michael Buffer was asked about, the upcoming fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, and if he had any thoughts on it. And essentially, he had four words for Jake Paul. Work on your defense. Now, that's not motivation, guys. I think that's more of a warning, right? I mean, that's basically like, bro, this dude hits like a freight train. Okay, protect yourself. Protect yourself at all times. Buffer even says that Joshua is still the biggest puncher in boxing. Devastating power. And he's been doing it for years. Now, you guys can argue the fact his last fight was against Daniel Dubois, and he got stopped. Daniel Dubois is, and I don't know, but I've noticed something here in North America. There's not a lot said about Daniel Dubois. I don't know if it's because, he's a UK British heavyweight fighter. I mean, there's obviously a lot more buzz and storylines surrounding this fighter and other fighters, a lot of up and coming and, big fighters from the UK happening in the UK. Here in North America, it seems like, I don't know if it's the ocean or what, but there seems to be a big divide. But we still hear about the stories and we still hear about the news and the updates, but not a lot is said about Daniel Dubois. And he is a very fierce competitor. Yeah, he had some back-to-back losses against Alexander Usyk, but we're talking about Usyk. He's not just some average fighter. Tyson Fury, all kinds of fighters have had nothing but problems with Usyk. Hence, this is the reason why Usyk is the world heavyweight champion. But there's a lot of drama on that front too, and I don't want to go off on the beaten path here. But recently Alexander Usyk vacated the WBO title, and upon that news, you've seen Daniel Dubois is moving past the IBF title eliminator fight that was originally scheduled for him and Sanchez to meet for the IBF title, and he doesn't want any part of that now, and now it looks like he's going straight for the WBO title potentially. And I broke the story out recently that I think he's going to go after Fabio Wardley for that opportunity. So anyways, it's going to be interesting to see. But from the heavyweight perspective, guys, the division is absolutely roaring. There's lots of storylines coming out. It's absolutely unbelievable. Great time to be a boxing fan. What a time to be alive if you're a fan for sure of the sport. But now when we're talking about Jake Paul and we're talking about Anthony Joshua, this fight has implications beyond implications, guys, because it's going to be ranked, it's going to be a sanctioned fight, and this could mean a lot for these two fighters, right? And so when you have a guy like Michael Buffer, who's been in the game for a long time, a guy with his pedigree, his ability to, he's spoken to, he's interviewed, he's done so much with a lot of fighters, he seems to have a good understanding of the sport and the fighters involved. So when he speaks, you have to listen, right? Now, look, he's right. Jake was preparing for his fight. We've been talking about it against Gervonta Davis, who's a smaller guy. When I talk about frame to frame, that's obvious. There was almost a 70-pound weight difference between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. I'm almost thinking if even the execs at Netflix were like, I don't think this is a good idea. Not that we undermine the capabilities and abilities of Gervonta Davis and how he fights as a fighter. I just don't think this is a good idea for this fight to happen. Who knows? Whatever the reason, that fight is not happening, and now now Jake Paul is going to be fighting a guy, ironically, bigger than him. He's fighting a heavyweight tank. That's like studying for a whole month, for your math test and getting dropped into a physics exam written by like Albert Einstein or something crazy like that, right? And this is the way it was framed, guys, in the storylines. I mean, in what I'm reading, and this is what it is. That's the equivalence, okay? So when those words from Michael Buffer, I'm pretty sure Jake Paul has taken heed. I think he realizes that, yes, he is going to have to work on his defense, because there were times as well that a nearly 60-year-old fighter, Mike Tyson, really kind of exposed Jake Paul a little bit, with his defense. I mean, Jake Paul is a tremendous young fighter. I keep telling people, I don't think he gets enough credit where credit is due. Yeah, he's had some controversial matches and stuff, but that's how he was able to build his name. He took on some legends. Yes, he took on some folks a little older than him and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, these guys are still unbelievable fighters themselves. Look at Paulie Malignaggi, right? I mean, he just fought bare knuckles fighting. He took on, I think it was Goodman. And did you see that fight, guys? Paulie, at the age of 44, looked like he was like he could take on like a Ryan Garcia or Benavidez or somebody, or like a ranked fighter right now. This is how good, this is how skilled these fighters are. And by the way, on a separate note, I really hope Paulie really thinks about coming back. I mean, at his age, I think he still has a lot of good years ahead of him. I mean, nothing against bare knuckle fighting, but I'd like to see him as a boxer again because I think he could do some damage. Now, let's get back to our stories. So that was Michael Buffer. Now let's talk about Eddie Hearn. I want to shift my focus, switch gears here a little bit. Eddie Hearn went full nuclear. Okay, he literally said, guys, if Joshua loses to Jake Paul, it might be time for both of us to retire. He's not just talking about Anthony Joshua. He's talking about himself as well. Like, what? Did he actually say that? This is absolutely insane, guys. But you know what? These guys are professionals. They're putting their legacies, they're putting their reputation on the line. There's already talks about potential fights after this, with AJ, but right now he's just you got to understand something. He's just laser beam focused on this fight, and he wants to take him out. I remember watching that video from Derek Chisora. I have it in one of my videos. It's like a little short. I played it in the beginning of one of my videos, and Derek Chisora himself said that AJ's got to do this within 2 to 3 rounds. He's got to knock him out, or at least beat him within 2 to 3 rounds. I mean, no other way to do it than to knock him out, I guess, because this is a 3-minute 8-round fight. These guys are going to be wearing 10-ounce gloves. There's so yeah, if Anthony's going to get it done, he's got to get it done early. And he's a big, powerful puncher. So he's going to have to he's going to have to train like he's never trained before. He's got to train like he's not fighting Jake Paul, like he's fighting Usyk. That's the way he's got to train. He can't take this lightly. And there are some weight implications as well, too. So he can't just come in there, like a 250, 260 or whatever. Like, he's got to train like a lean, mean machine. Like, this is a serious fight. Right? So essentially what Eddie Hearn is saying is the inevitable, right? Well, not the inevitable, sorry, but it could be the inevitable if things don't go their way. What Eddie Hearn is trying to say, right, is that if Jake beats Anthony Joshua, he expects AJ to win easily, destructively, violently, but if Jake beats AJ, if AJ doesn't knock this man out fast, it's going to be embarrassing. And that puts all the pressure on Joshua, not Jake. And I think it's time that, and if they don't get the job done, then Eddie Hearn is also putting his own skin in the game. He's like, you know what? It's not just AJ, but it's myself as well. I think both of us are going to have to retire and leave. Wow. That's big time, guys. That's big time. So this is how confident these guys are coming into the fight. So, obviously, the underdog is Jake. So there's going to be a lot of people trying to root for Jake here. And there's going to be a lot of bookies. Like, sports betting is going to be through the roof. And to tie into all this, then you got a former heavyweight. I'm not even going to say former, guys. My apologies. Andy Ruiz is the real deal. He's still fighting. Andy Ruiz, heavyweight boxer, chimes in. All right? He jumps in on this whole conversation, man. And then, look, he's the guy, and again, here's another guy who doesn't get a lot of credit, but he actually slept Anthony Joshua before, and he tells Jake straight up, guys, like, look, Andy Ruiz is we're talking about a powerful puncher. Just look at the old videos of Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. He's a serious fighter as well, okay? And Andy Ruiz was just trying to share some wisdom, I guess, with Jake Paul, and essentially told him, just get him with the right hand. One clean right hand, and honestly, that's Jake's real ticket. It could be his only real ticket. Ruiz says that Paul has to be fearless. He has to be dedicated. And he has to be ready to swing for the fences. Swing for that one shot. And look, Andy Ruiz reminded everybody that he knocked out Joshua too, right? As a massive underdog. When a lot of people didn't think Andy Ruiz could do it, he did it. And I think most people in boxing got it wrong that night. Right? So here's a guy who was able to do it. He did it. Can he do it again? That's debatable. Right? Because AJ is next level, man. I mean, yes, he's been out of the sport for a little bit, but he's not that long. But I mean, he's very he's conditioning, his strength, his training is definitely next level. And I think he realizes this too, because this is his opportunity to get back into the fold and to really contend for a potential world title run, a world title shot. And I think that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought maybe AJ comes back and he takes on an Andy Ruiz. Maybe he takes on a Wilder. Maybe he takes on a Chisora. Maybe he takes on a Frank Sanchez or Itoma. Or, there's lots of fighters. And then takes on the world champion. That's what I thought, personally, right? And what about Dubois? To see him and Dubois go at it again, I think that would be great for both fighters. But things have changed a little bit. Now he's taking on this fight this year. Okay. So look, he only has, if you think about it, they only had a little over a month to be able to train for this fight. Because the news broke that that Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua are gonna take this fight on with Jake Paul, like literally 1 week. Not even, sorry. Yeah, I think it's been 1 month, guys. They're gonna have 1 month from the time they actually broke the news that they're gonna take on this fight to be able to get prepped, ready, and to go. I don't care who you are. I think Anthony Joshua is an incredibly gifted fighter. I just don't know if 1 month is good enough for him to be able to get into the mode where he's going to knock somebody out. Even if Jake Paul, you can't discredit Jake Paul. You can't. He went against Tommy Fury. He went against all these guys. To fight somebody like him and to knock them out in 2 to 3 rounds. I don't know, man. I really don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But to have 1 month prep time, and during that 1 month, you're flying back and forth, you're doing pressers, you're doing all kinds of events, interviews. How much time are you really putting to your training and conditioning? So you have to take these things into consideration. These are all big factors, guys, and so if you're a betting man, you got to think about these things, right? Meanwhile, Jake is grounded. He's training like a madman. He hasn't stopped training since his fight against Tyson. He was training all the way up until he's ready to fight Gervonta Davis. And he's fighting with guys who are world-class fighters, right? Look at all the guys that he was training with just to get ready for Gervonta Davis. And now he's also training with the likes of Frank Sanchez. He's training with a lot of guys here. So AJ might have to be careful on this one. Right? And so there could be some merit in what Andy Ruiz is saying. Paul's going to have to be 100% fearless and he's going to have to be ready to go. And so, guys, the narrative is forming. It's absolutely crazy. Buffer says, protect yourself. Hearn says, retire if you lose. Ruiz is saying, that right hand, man, that could be your magic ticket right there. It's all starting to feel like a movie, guys. I don't know what about you, but for me it is. This isn't just hype. This is about legacy, guys. Yes, there's a lot of money on the line, but reputation, careers, they're all on the line right now. And I said this, and I'm going to say this again. AJ has more to lose in this fight than Jake Paul does, because Jake Paul, he has everything to gain from this fight, even if it goes the distance, even if he loses. If this goes the distance and he loses, Jake Paul should be in the world, like he should be a ranked fighter. He should be taking on the likes of, say, he should be fighting either Wilder or Chisora or some of these bigger guys next. I mean, the whole heavyweight thing is debatable. Light heavyweight, cruiserweight. I truly feel that Jake Paul's a true cruiserweight. But remember, he came in at 228 pounds or something like that against Mike Tyson. So, anyways, guys, yeah, this is for real, right? For Joshua, I mean, anything less than a knockout, I mean, he's going to get ripped apart by fans, okay? But then again, look, he only had a month to train in this fight. Even if he wins this fight, it goes the distance. He wins. He takes the win. He takes his money. He moves on. You can't be so sour on Anthony Joshua as well. I mean, he's still a human. And to have less than a month to be able to really prepare for this fight, it's not a long time. If he loses, yes, this could be career ending, unfortunately. And his legacy could be shattered, right? It could be an all-time upset. For Jake Paul, if he wins, he becomes the biggest star in the world of combat sports overnight. If he loses, people are just going to say he fought a heavyweight. Cool. Move on. This is why I said, guys, for Jake Paul, he's got everything to gain from this, regardless of the outcome. So one guy risks everything, one guy risks nothing. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. So anyways, guys, bottom line is scenario one, Joshua wins by early demolition. He beats him in the first 3 rounds, KOs him, and then he restores his fear, his credibility as the top heavyweight fighter in the heavyweight division. People are going to say he did exactly what a world-class heavyweight should do. And then we're talking about maybe, say, Deontay Wilder, Zhang. I keep forgetting about Zhang, Dubois, and he'll get a fast-track path towards a potential title shot, right? Hearn will frame the win as a validation that Joshua's still elite, he's still dangerous. And then for Jake Paul, no major damage on his brand, really. People are going to praise him, and they're going to say, wow, man, you went in with the top elite tier heavyweight. Kudos to you. Let's see what's next for Jake Paul. He lives to fight another day. That's my, scenario one. Scenario two, nightmare scenario for AJ, even though he technically wins. Critics immediately say that AJ's declined, and then that Hearn faces pressure because he claimed everything. He claimed anything less than destruction, and that would be, anything less than destruction would be embarrassing. And then so Hearn's legacy and his reputation will be tarnished along with Joshua. Headlines would say that, why couldn't Joshua finish a YouTuber? Joshua's confidence takes a hit. He goes back into his shell. Jake Paul gets massive credibility. Surviving a former heavyweight champion will be the storyline that sells for months on end, maybe even years. And it opens the door for even bigger crossover fights. And the pioneer to lead them all this way will be none other than the pioneer himself, who started this chaos, this madness of crossover hybrid style fighting, Jake Paul, the problem child. Scenario number 3, Hearns will retire. Okay, that will become the story. If Paul stops Joshua or wins unanimously, convincingly, AJ's career could effectively be over. I don't call the shots here, guys. We have to see the outcome of the fight, how it plays out, how the fighters win. And then we'll be able to ascertain or quantify exactly what we have in front of us to be able to make sense of what's in front of us. But it could be a legacy meltdown, one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. That would trigger rematch clauses, media chaos, nuclear level reactions from promoters and pundits and fans and stakeholders, and you name it. People will be coming out of the woodwork, and everyone's got something to say. Scenario number 4, Jake Paul wins via injury, cut, or some freakish weird scenario. Not a clean win, but still manages to get the W. AJ faces insane backlash. Regardless, Hearn likely sticks to his retirement decision. Paul again becomes the hottest name in boxing. just through sheer controversy, guys, alone. And then fans push for a rematch to set things right. A rematch, potentially. Can you imagine that? Scenario number 5. Scenario number 5. Okay. Scenario number 5, let's say you have a no contest. Okay, you have a no contest, bizarre ending. You've got accidental fouls, weird referee stoppage, ringside chaos, guys. Not impossible in a mega event like this. I mean, look what happened in UFC Qatar. Not UFC Qatar, sorry. Look what happened with Makhachev, right? Makhachev comes out, and then all of a sudden, Dylan Dennis is there. They start chirping their camps back and forth. Next thing you know, all of the whole Dagestani crew, Islam's crew, they start getting into it with Dylan Dennis and his friends, and it was just mayhem, guys. And that happened in New York, right? At UFC Fight Night. So, guys, anything like this can happen at any given time, right? And look, remember when Tyson, remember a long time Tyson and Holyfield, the amount of security, and there was like fights breaking out in the stands and ringside, people were throwing things at one another. Like, so anything can happen. And guys, the tickets to sit ringside for this are at around $30,000 US just to sit ringside for this event. Anyways, guys, the fights will get rescheduled potentially. The hype doubles, right? Like, look, Aspinall, Cyril Gane, like they were fighting, and then that weird eye poke or whatever, double eye poke, and then the fight had to be stopped, and now they're waiting to see if these guys can even fight again. But the media will frame it as unfinished business. It'll be another opportunity to sell the fight again. Both fighters will walk away with the tension. And guess what, guys? A bigger bag the following go around. So that could happen, right? But Eddie Hearn's warning honestly sets the stage for a no-win situation for Anthony. It has to be an all-out reward scenario for him, but it could also be an all-out reward scenario for Jake Paul. If AJ destroys him, it's expected. If he doesn't, it's unexpected. It's a crisis. The world ends. If he loses, it's career ending. Guys, you see what I'm talking about now? You see all the implications and the ramifications of potentially losing this fight. You see how much pressure is coming in on Anthony Joshua. A lot of people frame it like, oh, well, he's an elite fighter. He's a former world heavyweight champion. He's got this in the bag. This is unfair for Paul. No, actually, it's unfair for... Yeah, despite the money he's going to be making, this could be his last big payday if he doesn't come out of this match a victor. There's so much pressure coming in on Anthony Joshua. He's putting his entire legacy, reputation, everything, his future, ambitions of wanting to become a world title holder again, all on the line for this fight, right? And but these are the fights that we need to see. These are the fights that we need to see. If Jake Paul is as big as he is, which we know he is, and he's bringing all this combat marketing hype to the business, then we need to see him fight these kind of guys. That's just the way it is. All right? And so I love it. I know you guys love it. And, obviously Joshua is fighting for his legacy. Jake is fighting for history. And Michael Buffer, he isn't wrong. If Jake doesn't fix his defense, this could get ugly real fast. But anyways, guys, what do you guys think? And, who do you think is under most pressure? Is it Jake or is it Anthony? Yeah, drop your thoughts and comments below. I want to see where the community stands on this. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to my perspective on these 3 different kinds of storylines that are integrated into one. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I look forward to catching you guys on the next video.